The Art Gallery Association, so essentially the Art Gallery, was established in 1884, and it is the oldest and largest regional gallery in Australia. One of the main figures behind founding the gallery was James Oddie, who came out to Australia searching for gold and made his fortune here on the Ballarat goldfields, eventually through real estate. And he could see that there was a need in Ballarat for a place where people could go and appreciate culture.
Well, as well as our dynamic program of temporary exhibitions, we have an extraordinary collection. It's a representative collection that goes from the very first years of European settlement through to very contemporary works. One example is the Eugene von Gerard bushfire painting, for instance, bushfire near Timboon. The bushfire image is such a strong work and keys so much into aspects of the Australian experience and the Australian psyche.
It's a reasonably small painting in size, but the colour really hits you, and you really do get a sense of the enormity of that natural disaster.
The display of our permanent collection starts with that first generation of Ballarat settlers and their idea of what a gallery should contain and show. And perhaps the most impressive of those is Ajax and Cassandra.
We have this wonderful story about Ajax and Cassandra. Norman Lindsay, who of course is a famous Australian artist who was born in Creswick, used to come to the Art Gallery of Ballarat with his grandfather, and that's one of the works that he was struck by and that always stayed with him. So it's really one of those iconic works that we hold at the gallery here, and people do remember it and people do come to the gallery to see it.
We're very lucky here at the Art Gallery of Ballarat to have a very substantial representation of works by the Australian Impressionist artists, particularly Tom Roberts. We've got some key works by him, and one of those is Summer Morning Tiff, which shows an argument between a young woman and her lover who's disappeared in a huff off in the background. The dog's not sure which of them to align with, perhaps.
What Roberts was able to do was really capture that sense of the kind of isolation she's feeling at this very moment when she's had this argument with her lover.
It shows how those Impressionists could view the bush in a number of different ways, use their vision of the bush to show even a domestic interaction. We have a couple of important works by the landscape artist Fred Williams. The work really shows Fred Williams' very distinctive and clear vision of the Australian landscape and his portrayal of elements in the landscape in a very particular and distinctive and individual way. And then you've got the slash of the red fox running through it. It's very, very evocative and really a very striking piece.
Williams developed that very distinctive way of depicting the Australian bush. He uses that high horizon line in a lot of his works. This became a feature of his work, and part of the reason that he was doing that was to show the big expanse of the Australian landscape.
Geoffrey Smart's The Listeners from the Ballarat collection is a work that dates from the time when Geoffrey Smart departed from Australia to live permanently in Italy. It's one of his last Australian works that were painted in Australia. And it's a very curious and enigmatic one, like much of his work. The contrast between the man and the technology. It's something that is very open to interpretation, very available for interpretation.
That's one of the things I love about galleries today, is that it's all about the viewer and about what you think about a work. You can decide what you think of the colour, about the composition, about the theme. You know, we all have that capacity to look and think and feel and to express that.
This very striking and engaging work, the string bag made of barbed wire, Narbong by Lorraine Connelly-Northey. She's a Wiradjuri woman based in Swan Hill who uses found objects as her art form.
So we have this old rusty barbed wire formed into this beautiful big dilly bag, as it's called. And you can see that the artist has created this piece with a great deal of love and, of course, a great deal of skill.
It's very much a signpost to where the gallery has been going recently and where the gallery will continue to grow over the next few years. Ensuring our collection is inclusive, is broad, continues to be engaging and interesting in all sorts of different ways.